tock, tick, tick, tock, tick, doo doo doo. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Yeah, what is this, and what kind of time would I be talking about that keeps on, shifting, as it were? And if we're caught up in that push me, pull you kind of an energy that is, seeking to, look into the future and see what is that's going to happen. Or on the other side of that teeter-totter, am I drifting my thoughts back into memories of past experiences that they're memories? And, how accurate is my memory of those past experiences that transpired? Because what was going on at the time that memory settled into a little niche within me that said, I'm going to hang on to you for a while, and every time something comes up, I'm going to bring you back up again. And yet, we're not the same that we were back when those memories were formed. And the energies of then are not necessarily as relevant now, in this moment. So perhaps, I'm just going to throw this out there, but those future aspirations of what could be, and those memories of things that may or may not have been realistically, filed away in our memory banks, they're pulling us forward and backward. You can feel that tug of war, across a line. Well, what is that line? That line is now. Now is the really only moment that exists. Because this, right here, right now, is where things are transpiring. Tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tick. Are you caught on the wheel of time? And this is time as man or humankind has portrayed the experience of a linear time, moving horizontally through the adventure of the experience of being alive. At the horizontal level, that kind of time, it can be a distraction, asking us to, ponder those memories, those potential aspirations. And yet, the ritual of life is here in the current moment, where something is transpiring that, could seem like a distraction. What is that thing that's, over there off to the side that, is drawing my attention away in a different direction? It may be the opening to a brand new path that you are currently ready and potentially available to strike forth on, that you hadn't anticipated before. We're in a unique moment right now, astrologically. And that unique moment is that if you look at the chart for Monday, June 1st, you say, that's in the future. True. Today is only Sunday. But, this is the version of how I do my astrology. What I look at it is like, I like to look at the week ahead. Always keeping in mind that this current moment, this Sunday, is when the dance of life is intriguing my attention to this current moment as it's ready to unfold into the next. Well, right off the bat, we see, look, we've got the moon up here in Sagittarius. When the moon is up here but in Sagittarius or Capricorn, it's out of bounds in the current cycle. And this is an alternate week thing where one week it'll be out of bounds, the next week it'll be in bounds, and then we go to the next week after that and it's out of bounds again, back when it's down going through Gemini and Cancer. So, our lunar dance. And something that, you remember that we're looking at that teeter-totter, the past memories and the future aspirations. Well, when the moon is on its path between the south node and the north node, the destiny line, it has a tendency to lean toward more of the past south node kinds of things. And once the moon passes the north node, it has a tendency to be more of an aspiration for potential future inventions. Anyway, right now it's out of bounds, but it's not alone out of bounds. Venus and Mercury are out of bounds as well. Venus went out of bounds on the 5th of May. Mercury went out of bounds on the 22nd of May. And that was just a few days after Mercury went into Gemini. So on this Monday, you can kind of see Mercury's just shifted into Cancer. But since the 17th of May, Mercury's been going through its own sign of Gemini, out of bounds, so that whole experience until Monday, tomorrow, this mercurial messenger influence of how we think, how we put our words together in as effective a way as we can to express what it is that our thoughts are thinking, has been out of bounds, not predictable, not something that you could count on and say, well, because picture, just throw this out, here's that ritual, something live in the moment, the dominoes knocking into each other, one after the other, after the other. That is not a Mercury out of bounds. Going through our thoughts, errant thoughts, might they have appeared during this, first part of the Mercury going through Gemini cycle? We're still in Gemini because the sun, it's been there now 10 days, 11 days tomorrow, is asking us, have I paid attention to what the messenger planet has been, asking me to contemplate? Mercury. Conveyor of souls. Traveling out of bounds. You can almost sense the potential for the trickster to put it in an appearance and say, hey, and ask us, where is it that you want to go? And you might, with such deliberation. Remember, Mercury out of bounds. Deliberation into what? Into errant thoughts that collide with each other and zip off into tangential realities. And the trickster says, oh, this is my territory. You wanted to go somewhere, but how about you just close your eyes and allow the experience for me to convey you to some place that you had not anticipated. And when you're there, you open your eyes and kind of go, what am I doing here? What kind of magical transportation vehicle has moved me from where I thought I was into this new level of awareness in a new location? Welcome to our Mercury Out of Bounds dance. We've been in it for a while, so you should be getting used to the idea that, trying to overtly predict what is going to transpire in each moment without allowing space for creativity, the creative moment, to awaken us to something we, could not have predicted. Mercury's entrance into Cancer still out of bounds. Who is Cancer? In the great archetypal unfolding of the different things, well, we know Cancer is its home, its hearth, its family. But let's probe just a wee bit deeper. It's also the realm of the ancestors. Just keep in mind, we're talking Mercury out of bounds now. Are we paying attention to the potential for ancestral lineage levels of awareness that perhaps might be clamoring for our attention, that this Mercury out of bounds going into Cancer is stimulating? Our ancestors, the ones who have lived and died well, have perspective on the experience of the living process that they gleaned through likely multiple incarnations. It's always available to us. But we have to learn how to listen appropriately, to pay attention. Well, this Mercury out of bounds going into Cancer right now is that kind of invitation to listen between the lines, not get hung up on a repetition of a ceremonial presentation that, is all about the show, all about doing something in a matter that has been repeated and repeated and repeated. There's that song coming back in my head. Time keeps on slipping. Tick, tock, tick. Tick, tock, tick. No. In this moment, it's just tick. This is where I am. And the ramifications of what the next moment is going to be have a lot more to do with a ritualistic being open and alive to inspiration, that spirit, always present, might, awaken aspects within my conscience that have been waiting to be birthed in that moment. Venus, also in Cancer, is out of bounds. It's been out of bounds since the 5th of May. How do we, how is the experience of my interaction with the value of processes that bring me into connection and contact with others. This is Venus. Venus out of bounds. Venus out of bounds in Cancer. Might it be that there are, what should we call them, wavelengths of energetics in the realm of what transpires with my understanding of what home is. Do I need a actual physical, construct to be at home? Do I need to be within that construct? Or can the idea of home in my heart travel and be with me in every moment? Venus, out of bounds. A certain unpredictability factor in play, a certain wildness of, what could develop if, no matter where I am, my home heart is in ritual space where the invitation is being put out there for others to participate in this same level of home awareness. Together, Venus, now we're talking about out of bounds in that realm. I'm bringing these up because this is the last week that Mercury and Venus will be out of bounds for a while. Let's see. Next time, that it's not till the very end of the year when they begin to go out of bounds again. We're still in the Gemini season. Let's go back to our astrology. Tuesday, a Mars day. When I was learning Spanish, the words lunes, martes, miércoles, tres, jueves, viernes, sábado, seis, y domingo es siete. Lunes, the moon is a Monday. Martes, a Mars day is Tuesday. Miércoles, that Mercury on a Wednesday is, curiously asking us in this middle day of the week, are you paying attention? Anyway, on Sunday, on Tuesday, even though it's a Mars day, the Sun forms a sextile with Saturn. Remember, Mercury's still out of bounds. It's taken on a slightly different flavor this week in that it just shifted into Cancer. So the capacity to feel and sense experiences is Cancer. Brings in that, potential lunar process. And the moon is out of bounds as well, up there in Capricorn in an opposition to that Mercury, in the potential of that, dance between the nodes on the south node side of the equation, where the things of the past are vying for attention. Those memories, however accurate or inaccurate they may be or have been, are drawn into this consideration of the Sun, that vital energy in Mercury, of our curiosity, of what is it that we want to learn, What kind of communication factors are in play? What is the process going on from the Gemini perspective in third house of my interaction with my siblings? How's my car doing? Your vehicles for getting you around, also a third house mercurial Gemini kind of consideration. And you throw this together with a sextile of Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Aries. Wow. See? Those errant things that are just possible while Mercury's out of bounds. Saturn in Aries, the cardinal process of fabricating a structure that is meaningful at a point where there's such a level of newness available that trying to facilitate a long range picture of what can develop might get in the way of being awake enough in the current moment from a Saturn in Aries perspective to being able to, find solidity or a structural point that exists within that is making itself available for the birthing of something new that has not happened yet. Can you sense that energetic potential container attempting to do something meaningful, structurally meaningful, but not yet knowing what it is? The sun in Gemini, speaking to that, potential birthing energy of this Saturn in Aries, is asking you, trust. Do you trust that there is something more dynamic than what it is that you thought was coming down the pike, that might be attempting to tap you on the shoulder and awaken you to that newness? Cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. These are the initiators of the zodiac. They're about starting something. They're all initiating kinds of energies. Mercury's just gone into Cancer. Something is attempting to be awakened. Something new that hasn't happened before. Saturn is there as well. But Saturn takes its time. It takes 2.5 years or so for Saturn to go through a sign. So there's time to allow for the development of just what that birthing moment is initiating. Mercury's been whipping along at a lickety-split rate. It went into Gemini on the 17th of May, and here we are at the very beginning of June. Not even a half of a month, almost a half of a month. It's already gone into Cancer. However, this is going to be a longer cycle because it was moving along at 2 degrees plus per day for a while there. But once it gets into Cancer, it's going to, start to slow down, because by the end of the month, Mercury will do its next retrograde dance. So it's spending a little longer time in the sign of Cancer. It's actually goes retrograde on the 30th, the very last day of June. Up there at 26 degrees of Cancer. And then it backtracks all the way to 16 degrees of Cancer. And goes direct on July 23rd. I will cover this more, but that's a focused kind of energy. I don't want to get carried away into the future. Tick tock tick. Oh, tick tock tick. Anyway, as we proceed through the week, our out of bounds Mercury is what we're going to focus on. Well, we have an out of bounds moon too. Still out of bounds on Wednesday. When we get to Thursday, it shifts out of Capricorn. It's gone finally back in bounds as it enters Aquarius. And on that same day, Mercury has moved across a square, still out of bounds, with Neptune. Cardinal square. Neptune, just like Saturn, is at this beginning, potential awakening process that Aries represents, where the seed has been planted. But what it's going to be, it isn't known yet. You can kind of almost sense from a Neptunian perspective that do I have the capacity to hold the container that has not been birthed yet in the Neptunian realm of unlimited potential, unlimited creativity that, surpasses or can surpass the realms of unconstrained illusion, Neptune, so that spirit, another aspect of that Neptunian signature, has the time, there's that tick-tock tick again, to allow for the development of our out-of-bounds Mercury spinning a ritualistic tale that is so alive in the moment that I can allow the awakening of a version of that Neptunian unlimited capacity for creativity to speak through me. Not necessarily knowing what will be birthed, but trusting in my heart that it will be absolutely perfect. No matter what my druthers may be as to what I had hoped for. But am I alive enough in this moment for that out-of-bounds Mercury squaring that Neptune to trust in the process? Is my version of home that I hold in my heart strong enough to flow with an unpredictable, version of the outer format of what home is. And in the context of the awareness that my ancestral lineage has been preparing me for all along in this part of the dance, in this awakening moment, in this day. I'm on Thursday right now. Thursday's a Jupiter day, Jueves. Jupiter is still in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted when it's in Cancer. It's in its, happy mode, extremely happy mode. So it is presenting opportunity for, not containment or holding oneself back from our perspective of what this home environment can be, but is sitting there as an expanded invitation to what more is available right now for this home dance to be able to, engage in. That, my friends, is all I have for this week. Although, when we go to Sunday, see the moon here? 25. The moon will catch up with the North Node. This is a shift. Our destiny line. The versions of what has happened in that tick-tock life dance that we're, dancing through the memories, accurate or not, of what had transpired to get us to where we are. The moon going over the North Node. It's now moving in its northern unfolding process. There's an aliveness to the potential for a presence that is, ready to percolate. The moon in Pisces. The potential sensation of spirit at work on this Sunday awakens. No longer the requirement to tick-tock, tick, be drawn back to versions, remembered correctly or not, that seem to distract us from this current moment. The moon going over the North Node of itself is asking us, wake up. I want to present something new to you. Are you paying attention? It's in Pisces when it starts this half of the cycle. The unlimited maximum depth of Piscean spiritual awareness is knocking at the door. Are you listening? Another song comes flashing into my head. And the tide rushes in and washes my past away. And I'm really not so sure which side of the bed I should lay. I love the Moody Blues. Their songs, they just move aspects of my heart. That's all I got for this week. Do allow the connection to your ancestral lineage. Some audience, they have something that is definitely worth paying attention to. So, as we, what is the day? Let's see. I haven't turned my calendar yet. It's on the 6th, Venus is going to go direct, which I believe is probably on that Sunday. Let's see. Yeah. Venus goes direct on the Sunday. Shifts in the pattern. That's all I got. I'm going to let you go right now. Thanks. See you all next week.